Amara was the kind of woman who carried silence like a crown. People noticed her not because she spoke loudly, but because she never spoke at all. In Mbara village, her quietness made her stunned. Men tried to get close to her. They were drawn by her gentle eyes and the mystery she carried like perfume. Some brought her gifts, some offered help, some even tried to make her laugh, but Amara never spoke. For once, she never opened her mouth, not even once. Even one man tried reading her poems, hoping her silence would melt. He listened politely, but when he asked her to speak, she didn't say even a word. She walked away and never returned. Another young man followed her around the market, begging to hear her voice, and even promised her that he won't tell anybody. The moment he asked, she shut her heart to him completely. To the villagers, Amara's silence meant many things. Some said she was proud, others said she was stubborn, and others believed she carried a charm or a secret, but no one knew the truth. A truth that is darker, older, far more dangerous than anyone could imagine. In the quiet village of Mbara, surrounded by red earth and palm trees, there lived a young woman named Amara. Everyone in the village knew her, not because she was the most beautiful, although she was beautiful though, but because Amara had never spoken a single word since she was born. Not even mama, not even water, not even a cry. She communicated with her hands, her eyes, and her soft smile. Some villagers believed she was blessed, others believed she was cursed, others believed maybe she was hiding something that the world was not ready to hear. Amara lived with her mother Mama Jachi, a gentle woman who always protected her. Anytime people asked why Amara was silent, her mother only said she does not speak, that's all. But in her eyes, fear always lived. Mama Jachi treated Amara like a fragile egg. She never let anyone get too close, never let any man express interest. She never let Amara go out after sunset, and Amara obeyed quietly. But deep inside, she wanted more. She wanted freedom. She wanted to laugh out loud like other girls. She wanted to love and be loved. She wanted to speak, but something inside her, something she did not understand, kept her silent. Something ancient, something powerful, and something dangerous. The villagers began to whisper, the girl who never speaks, that is not ordinary. She might belong to the spirit, or she might cause problem one day, who knows. But one person did not fear. His name was Obiozo. Obiozo was a young craftsman known for carving marks and wooden sculptures that even kings admire. He had watched Amara from afar since childhood. He loved the quiet way she moved, the softness in her smile, and where people saw mystery and fear, Obiozo saw beauty and peace. One market day, as Amara carried a basket of vegetables, she slipped and the basket filled. The villagers only stared. No one wanted to go near her. Obiozo ran to her side, picking the vegetable and handing them back gently. Mara looked at him, her eyes wide, surprised. No one had ever touched her things before. No one had ever come close like that. Obiozo smiled. You are safe, said. You don't have to be afraid though. Smile back, shy, or great. Day by day, Obiozo began to follow her to the market. He carried her things. He carved little wooden bears and gave to her. He read her eyes, learned her signs, and even understood her silence. And slowly, Amara's heart began to open. Majachi noticed and feared the worst might happen. One evening, she pulled Obiozo closer and told him, stay away from my daughter. You don't know what you are walking into. Obiozo bowed respectfully and said, I don't know, but I want to know. Let me love her. Majachi stared at him with tired eyes, the eyes of someone who had carried a secret too long. I said, you cannot love her, she whispered. She's not like other women. And one day her silence will destroy everything. Obiozo shook his head. Silence cannot destroy love, he said, if only he knew. As the village prepared for the New Yam festival, a night where drums screamed into the sky, the spirits were believed to walk among humans. That night, Mama Jachi begged Amara not to attend, and she told her, please, stay inside, do not go out tonight. But Obiozo came to her window and smiled at her in the moonlight and said, come with me, I've never danced. Tonight you will dance with me. Amara hesitated. Her heart pulled into two. She remembers her mom's warning, but she also wanted to be with Obiozo. And for the first time in her life, she disobeyed her mom. When they got there, the The drums were beating loudly. The dancers moved in circles. Masquerades were present. Children screamed with joy and the moon shined brightly. Obi also held Amara's hand as they danced slowly at the edge of the crowd. Her heart was full, she felt alive. But then the air changed, the drums slowed, the torches fickled and the wind grew cold, too cold for a one village night, and suddenly a masquerade in black appeared. Not part of the festival, not part of the village. It walked slowly towards Amara. The crowd stepped back in fear. The creature stopped in front of her and then sniffed the air around Amara and whispered in a voice only she could hear, "It's almost time." Amara froze, eyes widened in terror. Her hands trembled, but Obi also grabbed her arm and asked, "What is wrong? Hope you're okay." She shook her head violently but terrified. And then she did something she had never done before. She opened her mouth. Her voice came out, a single terrified whisper. "Run!" The ground trembled. The torches exploded into fire. The masquerade vanished. The crowd screamed. Majachi, watching from afar, collapsed in fear. The forbidden night had come. Back home, Majachi locked the door and fell to her knees. "Look, Amara, you spoke tonight." Obi also stayed in shock. He had never heard her voice, but instead of joy, he saw fear in Amara's eye, fear that is deeper than death. Majachi wiped her tears and said, "There's something you both must know." She breathed deeply, but her hands were shaking. Amara was never born silent. When she was a baby, her voice called spirits. When she cried, spirits came. When she laughed, spirits answered. When she spoke, things moved in the house. Doors opened. Winds blew and shadows walked. So one night, Majachi said, "I carried her to the edge of the forest where the ancient woman of Umoma lived. I begged the woman to silence my child's voice. I begged her to seal it forever." Amara covered her mouth in shock. "Okay, that means she had power," Obiozok asked. Majachi nodded. "Yes, Amara has a power too strong for a child. So one night, I carried her to the edge of the forest where the ancient woman of Umoma lived." He whispered like someone confessing a sin. And said, "I begged the woman to silence my child's voice. I begged her to see Amara's voice forever." Amara, hearing this, covered her mouth in shock. The woman agreed, but she warned that if Amara speaks again, her real voice will return, and the spirit will come back for her, and she will belong for them forever. Obi also realized what that meant, and tonight, Amara had spoken. Suddenly, a strong wind shook the house, and a whisper came from outside, saying, "It begins." Suddenly, I cried and wrote on the floor. I only wanted to dance. Majachi hugged her tightly, crying with regret. Obi also stood up with courage and said, "If the spirits want Amara, they will have to go through me." And Majachi tried to stop him, telling him that the spirits were powerful and dangerous, but Obi also refused to leave Amara. And he said, "I love her. Her voice is not a curse." She held her hand and said, "Speak again. I want to hear you." Amara was scared, but she trusted him, and she whispered, "Obiozo." Immediately the wind grew loud, the house shook, and her power returned. Then the wall opened and the ancient woman of Umoma appeared. And she said, "I seal this girl's voice. Now she has broken the seal. Her voice belongs to the spirits. If she stays here, her words will cause destruction." Amara then hid behind Obiozo, shaking. Obiozo fell to his knees, begging the strange woman, "Please, she's all I have, don't take her." The ancient woman looked at him and asked, "Are you ready to pay the price for her freedom?" And without fear, he said yes. Amara cried and tried to stop him, but Obiozo held her gently and said, "My love, I cannot live without you. If I must lose something, I will lose it for you." The ancient woman raised her staff and said, "The price is your voice. You will never speak again." Amara screamed, begging him not to do it, but Obiozo smiled softly and said, "Now you see, your voice is precious. I want you to keep it, even if I lose mine." He accepted the sacrifice, and a bright white light filled the room. When it cleared, Obiozo opened his mouth, but no sound came out. His voice was gone forever. Amara Mamajachi cried, and the ancient woman warned, "Love is powerful, but every power has a price." Then she disappeared. The next morning, the whole village gathered. Everyone was shocked. Amara now spoke loudly, but Obiozo could no longer speak at all. No one believed Amara when she tried to explain. Some feared her, some avoided her, some called her dangerous. Every day, Obiozo carved her name into a wood, smiling to show he has no regrets. but he could not say I love you, or don't cry, or everything will be okay. And guilt slowly filled Amara's heart. She stopped speaking not because of a curse, but because every word reminded her of what Obiozo lost. One evening, she sat under the udala tree and whispered, I do not deserve love. And from that day, she chose silence for the rest of her life. And years passed. Obiozo and Amara lived together, loving each other quietly, but carrying deep sadness. Obiozo carved sculpture of their story of a girl who would not speak and a boy who could not speak, and two hearts tied together forever. The village learned an important lesson, which is silence can hide pain, power, and love. And true love always asks for a sacrifice. Amara grew old and never spoke again. She cried whenever she remembered what Obiozo gave up for her. When Obiozo died, his storm read, I gave my voice so she could speak. And Amara's storm read, I kept my silence because of my guilt.